That silent, heavy hour before the dawn holds a secret your restless mind is hiding from you. Most people fight it, they toss and turn, desperate for a troubled sleep. But if you understand this one truth, which we will uncover at the very end, your entire perception of reality, of your own self, can shatter into something new. You must see this through to the end. Observing restlessness. So you find yourself awake. The world is dark, silent, the house is still, and in this great stillness, your mind is a storm. Is that not so? The first thing that arises is the command, I must sleep. I have to get back to sleep. Tomorrow will be a difficult day if I do not. A conflict is born immediately. There is the fact, you are awake, and there is the idea, the demand from thought, you must be asleep. And in this division, in this struggle between what is and what should be, all your energy is consumed. Have you ever questioned this impulse, this immediate battle? Why? Why the fight? Let us inquire into this together, shall we? Not me telling you, but for us to look, to observe what is actually taking place. The body is lying there, but the mind is running, agitated, worried. It is worried about the coming day, about the meeting, the conversation, the bills. It is projecting a future based on the past. And it says, to meet that future, I need sleep. So it begins to fight the present moment. It turns the simple fact of being awake into a problem, a terrible problem that must be solved. The mind is a machine of measurement and comparison. It compares the state of being awake to the idealized state of being asleep. It measures the hours left until the alarm will ring. And this measurement, this comparison, is the very essence of anxiety. Can you see that? It is not the wakefulness itself that is the source of suffering, but the mind's reaction to it, the story it tells about it. So the first thing is not a thing to do in the active sense. On the contrary, it is to do nothing. Can you simply lie there and observe this entire phenomenon without judgment, without the label insomnia, without the fear? Just watch it. Watch the demand for sleep. Watch the anxiety. Watch the thoughts chase each other across the screen of the mind. Watch it as you would watch clouds moving across the sky. You do not condemn a dark cloud. You do not praise a white cloud. You simply observe their movement, their form, their passing. Can you give that same quality of attention to your own inner state? This requires a very subtle energy, a passive awareness. The moment you say, I am going to observe, the I has created a division between the observer and the observed. You are still separate. But can there be an observation in which the observer is absent? There is only watching. There is only an awareness of the restlessness, the sensation of it in the body, the heat of the anxiety, the rapid pulse of the worry. Do not name it. The moment you name it, this is anxiety about work. You have stopped observing it and have begun to analyze it, to connect it to a memory, which is the movement of thought. We are not analyzing, we are simply choicelessly aware of the whole field of this disturbance. You are not trying to quiet the mind. That is another trick, another form of conflict. Trying to force the mind to be quiet is like trying to flatten the waves of the ocean with an iron. It is a violent, futile act. But if you watch the waves, understand their nature, see where they come from, then in that very seeing, something else takes place. So do not fight, do not resist, do not even try to be peaceful. Simply observe the entirety of your own inner chaos without a single movement of escape or condemnation. That is the first step, the first inquiry. It is the foundation for everything else. The mind is afraid of stillness because in that stillness it might see itself for what it is. A collection of memories, of fears, of secondhand knowledge. It thrives on noise, on problems, on constant occupation. So when the world outside becomes quiet, the mind generates its own noise to maintain its existence. Your waking up is this process made visible. It's a tremendous opportunity if you can see it as such, not a curse, but a moment of clarity. The organism, the body, is asking for something. Perhaps it is asking for attention from you, the kind of attention it never gets during the day when you are distracted by 1,000 things. The day is for the world, for others, for activity. But this pre-dawn hour, this sacred silent interval, perhaps that is for you. It is a space for self-learning, for understanding the whole structure of what you are. And that understanding cannot begin if you are at war with the moment. So the war must end. The demand to be somewhere else, asleep, must be seen for what it is, an escape from what is. Can you remain with what is for just a few moments, with the simple bare fact of your wakefulness in a silent world? If you can do that, something extraordinary begins to happen. The energy that was being poured into the conflict is now liberated, and that liberated energy is attention. It is intelligence. Uncovering fear. Now, as you lie there, not fighting, simply observing what comes up, the restlessness has a content, does it not? It is not an abstract energy. It is composed of thought, of images, of worries. A face may appear, a sentence someone said, a fear about your health, your finances, your loneliness. This is the heart of the matter. The silence of the night no longer allows for the usual distractions, so the deep underlying fears of our consciousness are free to surface. During the day, we can run from them. We can turn on the television, call a friend, immerse ourselves in work, in entertainment. We are masters of escape. But at 3 a.m., there is nowhere to run. The fear is right there, in the room with you. It is you. So the second action, the second form of inquiry, is to look directly at this fear, not as an enemy, but as a messenger. What is it? Let us take one fear, the most common perhaps, the fear of the future. The fear of what might happen tomorrow, next week, next year. What is this future that you fear? Is it an actual living thing, or is it a projection of thought based on your memory of the past? You had a painful experience yesterday, and you are afraid it will repeat tomorrow. So, thought has created a bridge between a dead past and an unborn future, and you are living on that bridge of fear. But the bridge is not real. It is a mental construction. Can you see this with absolute clarity? Fear is always of the non-existent. It is never about the now. Right now, in this moment, as you are lying in the dark, are you in danger? The bills are not attacking you. The boss is not in the room. The illness has not yet arrived. The loneliness is a thought, a memory of connection that is lost, and a desire for a future connection. The fear exists only as a thought, an image in your mind. We are not saying to ignore real physical danger. If there is a tiger in the room, you do not sit and observe it, you act. But we are talking about psychological fear, which is 99.9% of our fears. This fear is a product of thought, which is a response of memory. Thought is time, psychological time. And where there is time, there is fear. Fear of not becoming, fear of losing, fear of ending. So can you look at the specific fear that has woken you up? Look at it without trying to rationalize it, justify it, or push it away. Don't say, I shouldn't be afraid of this. That is another judgment, another conflict. Just look. Look at the anatomy of that fear. See how it is tied to an image, a word. The word lonely, or failure, or sick. The word itself carries a huge weight of cultural and personal conditioning. Can you separate the word from the reality? Is there a reality to the fear at all? Or is it just the word and the associated sensations that thought has created? This is deep meditation. This is the real work, not chanting mantras or following a system, which are all forms of escape, but to face the actual content of your own consciousness. To see the fear, to stay with it, not for a second, but to hold it, to look at it, to let it reveal its whole nature to you. When you give it your complete, undivided attention, you will see that the fear is like a shadow. It seems enormous, terrifying, but when you shine the light of total attention on it, you find there is nothing there. It was sustained by your inattention, by your running away. The moment you turn and face it completely, it begins to dissolve, because the observer who is afraid and the thing observed, which is called fear, are not two separate things. The thinker is the thought. The experiencer of fear is the fear itself. When this is seen, not intellectually, but actually, factually, the division ends, and where there is no division, there is no conflict and therefore no fear. This requires great seriousness, not a long-faced solemn seriousness, but the seriousness of a scientist who is investigating a phenomenon with immense passion and integrity. You are the laboratory and you are the scientist. The object of study is your own self, the me with its fears, its anxieties, its sorrows. Most of us spend our entire lives trying to decorate the prison of the self, to make it more comfortable. We seek pleasure, we accumulate knowledge, we build relationships, all to distract from the fundamental fear and sorrow that lies at the center of the self. This moment, this wakefulness at 3 a.m., is a chance to stop decorating the prison and to look at the very walls, the bars, the nature of the prison itself, to see that the prison is built by thought, and the warden, the guard, and the prisoner are all the same entity, the me. Seeing this is the beginning of freedom. So, you look at the fear. You see it is born of thought, of time. You see that the observer is the observed. You stay with it until it has no more secrets from you. You have given it the light of your full, compassionate, choiceless awareness, entering stillness. And what happens then? What happens when you have observed the restlessness without fighting it, and you have looked into the heart of the fear without running from it? What is the quality of the mind now? You have not practiced anything. You have not followed any method or authority. You have simply, with great care and affection, looked at what is, and in that very act of looking, the untruth has dissolved, the conflict has ended, the fear, which is based on the illusion of time, has withered away. What is left? There is a silence, is there not? But this is not the dead silence of a mind that has been suppressed, disciplined into submission. It is not the silence of a space that has been emptied. It is the living, vibrant silence of a mind that is no longer in conflict with itself. It is a silence that is full of energy, full of life. It is the silence of creation. This is the third and most profound state. It is not something you do. It is what happens when you cease all the useless doing. It is a state of being. This stillness is not an achievement. If you make it a goal, you will create a new conflict, a new struggle to achieve it. You cannot desire stillness. The very desire for stillness creates agitation. It is the mind saying, I want that experience. And the I, the self, is back again, wanting, grasping, creating division. So this cannot be invited. It arrives, like the dawn, when the darkness of conflict has been understood and has dissipated. It is the natural state of a mind that is unburdened. Can you feel the quality of this stillness? It is vast, immeasurable. It has no center and no circumference. The me, the self, with its petty worries and ambitions, is absent. And because the self is absent, there is an immense sense of space, of freedom. In this silence, there is an extraordinary sensitivity. You may hear the sounds of the house, the hum of a distant machine, with a clarity you have never known before. Because the mind is no longer occupied with its own chatter. It is open, receptive to everything. It is supremely intelligent. This intelligence has nothing to do with knowledge from books, with being clever. It is the intelligence of pure perception, of seeing things exactly as they are, without the distortion of the past. This state is not some mystical, otherworldly experience reserved for saints or sages. It is your natural state. It is the state of the human mind before it was conditioned, before it was broken up into fragments by society, by religion, by ambition, by fear. It is the original mind, whole, sane, and complete. To touch this, even for a moment, in the pre-dawn quiet, is to understand the possibility of a different way of living. A way of living in which you meet every moment of the day with this same quality of silent awareness. To meet your relationships, your work, your sorrow, your joy, with a mind that is not caught in the net of thought. To live without the constant friction of the self. This is the great revolution. Not a political or economic revolution, but a total psychological revolution within yourself. And it begins here, in this simple, profound act of waking up to your own consciousness in the middle of the night. You are not doing three things as a recipe. You are engaging in a single, continuous movement of awareness. First, awareness of the conflict. Second, awareness of the content of the conflict, which is fear. Third, the dawning of that silent awareness, which is freedom from the conflict itself. It is a movement from the gross to the subtle, from the outer struggle to the inner cause, and from the cause to a state that is beyond all cause and effect. This is meditation, not the sitting cross-legged for 10 minutes to feel good, but the meditation of living, of dying to every moment, to every memory, to every accumulation of the self, so that you are always new, always fresh, always born again in a world that is also, therefore, always new. The world is not separate from you. When you change, the world changes. Because your perception of the world is what creates your world. If you perceive it through the screen of fear and memory, the world is a place of threat and sorrow. If you perceive it with a mind that is silent and free, the world is a thing of extraordinary beauty and wonder. This possibility is what the silence of the night is offering you. It is the greatest gift. It is an invitation to come home to yourself, to a home that you never actually left, but only forgot. This stillness has no opposite. The mind thinks in opposites, light and dark, good and bad, noise and silence. But the silence we are talking of is not the absence of noise. It contains all noise. It is the background against which all phenomena, all thought, all sound appear and disappear. To be aware of this background is to be free of the tyranny of the foreground, of the constant drama of the self. This is not a theory. You must discover this for yourself. You must be your own light, your own teacher, and your own disciple. Reject everything I have said. Do not accept it. Be skeptical. But use that skepticism to inquire with immense passion into your own nature. The truth is not in my words or in any words. It is in your own direct, unmediated perception of what is. And that perception is most potent, most possible in the deep, pregnant silence before the world awakes. To live this way, to meet life with a mind that is perpetually new, unscarred by the past, is the greatest art there is. It is to live with a love that is not attachment, with an intelligence that is not mere knowledge, and in a state of freedom that is not a reaction to bondage. This is not for a special few, nor is it a distant goal in a future life. It is here and now, waiting in the silence of your own heart, in the quiet observation of a single thought. This is the profound implication of waking up before the dawn, the opportunity to die to everything you know, and to be for the first time truly alive. For years I fought this 3 a.m. waking. I'd get so angry and anxious about being tired the next day. Last night after watching this, when I woke up, I just stopped. I just watched the panic, the thoughts about work, the fear. I didn't try to fix it, and then something shifted. It's hard to put into words, but the fear wasn't me anymore. It was just there, and then it wasn't. The silence that followed was the most peaceful thing I have ever experienced in my life. I actually cried, "Thank you."